roar back in the second half. Beck throws for 439 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, had a fumble. But Jalen Milroe in the end is the guy that's standing. 374 yards through the air, 117 on the ground, 4 total touchdowns. And the Alabama Crimson Tide absorb Georgia's fight. 41-34 in an absolute classic. This college football postgame report is built by the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Welcome in CBS Sports college football writer Richard Johnson and 2-time national champ Damian Harris, the former Alabama running back. Damian, you went 3-0 against Georgia, including wins in the SEC Championship and in the Natty. You said this week Georgia is still the little brother to Alabama. Well, the little brother fought back, but the big brother was standing tall in the end.
Yeah, Georgia fought. And I'll be honest, halfway through this game, I was talking about how Carson Beck wasn't good, Georgia wasn't good. I had a whole list of tweets I was ready to put out, a whole bunch of posts, videos of me talking about how Alabama's the big brother, Georgia's the little brother. Well, listen, I can tell you guys, Bama won, but Georgia is good. That is a team that can fight like that can bounce back when they were absolutely left for nothing. Like, they were left for dead, essentially, on that field. Nobody had any faith in them other than Kirby Smart, Carson Beck, and the guys in that locker room. So I got to tip my hat. I got to, because Georgia, the way they played in the second half, I'm not sure if Alabama doesn't jump the gun and jump out to such an early dominant lead. I'm not sure if they go toe-to-toe throughout the game, if Alabama can keep up. I mean, with what I saw in the second half. So it was really conservative by Alabama. Georgia took full advantage. They came out swinging in the second half. Granted, not everything went their way, similar to the first half. They still had some turnovers. They had some plays I'm sure they wish they could have back. But they kept fighting. They kept scratching. They kept clawing. And that is that's what a Kirby Smart coach team is going to do. They're never down. They're never out. So, man, Georgia is the little brother, but they're looking not so little right now.
How about that final play, Richard? Zabian Brown making that play, contorting his body. How athletic to seal the victory for the Tide.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, Zabian Brown got beat on a touchdown in the third quarter, and he comes back, and he's able to make the play at the end of the game. Obviously, cornerbacks, defensive backs, you have to have a short memory. But I agree with Damian. If we play that game for another 10 minutes, I'm not so sure Georgia doesn't come out with the victory. I thought Alabama threw adjustments, but some of the tricks that Alabama were able to pull out of their sleeve in the first half, they were not working in the second half. Georgia figured out a way to get lined up against Alabama's shifts and motions. They figured out a way to limit the way Alabama could get to the edge with Jalen Milroe in the QB run game. And I also was not so thrilled with how Alabama managed the clock, particularly in the fourth quarter. I thought they could have taken some more time off the clock and milked it a little bit more and maybe created even less margin for Georgia to try to pull this comeback off.
Damian, what do you think Nick Saban would say after this game? Because I kind of have an idea. What would he say if you were in that locker room right now and he was still coaching this team?
I think you guys would be surprised because, like I said, that's a good team that they just played. Granted, they jumped out and they, like you guys said, they threw the kitchen sink and they looked like a superior team. But let's not forget, Georgia is very talented. They're coached well. They play hard. They're good on offense. They're good on defense. They had a couple miscues on special teams, but both teams did. I mean, that's something that happens, but this is a really good team. So Coach Saban would probably come in and say, listen, guys, this was not our best game, especially in the second half. We lacked execution. We lacked discipline. We lacked the competitive nature to keep our foot on the gas. With that being said, we just beat a really good team at home who is ranked above us, and that's all that matters. Each and every week, you got to go 1-0 because all these teams that want to get into the 12-team playoffs, all these teams that want to get in their conference championships, the only way you can do that is by going 1-0 every single week. Now, that next day meeting, that Monday meeting, that might not be so nice. It might not be so nice because you know what Coach Saban does? He sits back in his chair and crosses his arm, and he's got that laser pointer, and he just kind of points at stuff on the screen. And whenever you get circled on the screen, you know what's coming, and you got to be prepared for it. So the next couple of days would have been a little bit more harsh, but at the end of the day, Alabama just beat a really, really, really good Georgia football team. So you got to give credit where it's due. Georgia played their tails off in the second half. They made it really competitive. They had a chance to win the game. But at the end of the day, Alabama, there was a team that won and there's a team that lost. Alabama was the team that won. So, yes, there's a lot of things to clean up and there's a lot of things that you can correct, especially looking at the second half. But at the end of the day, a win is a win.
A win is a win. And I can imagine Nick Saban sitting there going, it's not how you finish. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. But Kalen DeBoer, we saw some emotion from him in this game. I mean, there was a clear pass interference call in the first half that did not get called. We saw him jumping around, yelling at the officials like me at a Pee Wee football game, yelling at officials. And I'm sitting here going, okay, this is the guy that people didn't know, that still has passion, was mild-mannered, and he's looking like Nick Saban on the sideline. He's lucky that he has Jalen Milroe as his quarterback, Richard.
Yeah, you saw some of the fire. You saw some of the things that you like from your leader on the sideline. You're right, but they squeaked it out at the end.
Right, but at the end of the day, isn't all that matters?
It is. You know, we talked about defensive backs having a short memory. We talked about defensive backs needing to just play the next play. That's what Carson Beck showed me in this game. The box scores 27 of 50, 3 interceptions, 439 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and a partridge in a pear tree. He had everything in this game happen to him, but he was able to respond. He was able to start seeing the defense in the second half, and he was able to get his Georgia Bulldogs to the doorstep of what would have been the biggest comeback in school history.
Yeah, Carson Beck showed a lot. And I think it goes beyond the talent that he has, his arm talent, his measurables. He showed a competitive nature, an ability to flip the script after a bad play, after 2 bad plays, after 3 bad plays, after multiple bad plays. Things weren't going their way, but Ed built like Tim Tebow. Well, a lot of ththings that people are missing that coaches and GMs really care about is that competitive nature. Look back to the New England Patriots and what happened with them in the Super Bowl against the Falcons. Everything for Atlanta was working perfectly. They threw the kitchen sink at New England. What did Tom Brady do? He just kept flipping the page, playing the next play, playing the next down, just kept chugging along, and they were able to win. Granted, Carson Beck fell short today because he was going up against the guy who, in my opinion now, is the Heisman frontrunner.
Yep.
But he still showed innate leadership, the ability to be a great leader, the ability to be a competitor. And obviously we saw with the stats that he had, he can play ball. He can throw the ball around. He can get the ball to his playmakers. He can make the plays to set you up to come back from such a deficit. So to me, Carson Beck really showed a lot. Not as much about what's going on here with this arm, but what's going on in here. What's going on in here, up here, you know? The things that aren't measured at the combine, the things that you can't look at and be like, oh, well, he should have this because he's this height or he's this weight or he's got this kind of arm talent. Now, he showed what was in here that is immeasurable unless you see it in a big-time game like this in a situation like he was in.
Well, hats off to Carson Beck. But, I mean, Jalen Milroe had 491 total yards. Okay, I love that we're talking about Carson Beck and that he showed grit and he showed fight. But, man, Jalen Milroe, as you just said, is your Heisman frontrunner. 491, 4 total touchdowns. He throws an absolute dime to Ryan Williams, who's 17 years old, Damian.
The kid.
The receivers that this program churns out. This kid was deep on the depth chart, and Jalen Milroe goes, hey, Coach, I think we need to move him up with the ones. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Jalen Milroe, and that's a leader identifying who can be his top weapon, who can be his most reliable, big play, securing a catch for a first down. He has that belief in Ryan Williams, and to be honest, the entire country does. And a 17-year-old, how crazy is that? In the biggest stage of college football, this was the biggest game of the year by far. And to be honest, the way the game went, I don't know that there will be a bigger, more competitive, more exciting, thrilling game. And what is it? It's your leader in Jalen Milroe, your Heisman Trophy favorite right now, going to his 17-year-old go-to guy. Bill Belichick used to talk about all the time. Every team, every quarterback has a go-to guy in a go-to situation. Well, Ryan Williams is that guy at 17 years old. He'll be that guy this year, next year, the year after that, and then he's going to be a top pick. But what Jalen Milroe has done, setting him up, bringing him in, showing that leadership, and then obviously the talent that he possesses, being able to throw the ball, being a much improved passer, being able to run the ball at such an efficient and high level. I mean, this guy is spectacular, and all the critics, all the naysayers, like they say, let a naysayer know. All the naysayers that talk bad about Jalen Milroe, they had something to say about him getting benched last year. Like, they're still talking about this. They're still, and you know, Kirk Herbstreit said it best. I was listening to this when I was driving home from the airport. Kirk Herbstreit said it best. It's left a stain on him, not in the way that he plays, not in the sense of, oh, well, he's still, you know, we're still trying to see him improve. No, he wears it because that was insulting to him, because he knew how good he was. He knew what he was capable of. It wasn't panning out quite yet. But now he's taken everything that everybody said, everything that everybody believed about him, whether it was about him being a passer, him playing at the next level, whatever you want to say about the kid, he's proven everybody wrong with the way that he has started this season. And granted, Georgia played a heck of a game. They came back, but Alabama has zero, and I mean zero, chance without Jalen Milroe tonight.
You know, one thing I don't want to hear coming out of this game is that, oh, the 12-team playoff is going to ruin the regular season. The 12-team playoff is going to take the juice out of some of these games. Are you crazy?
No, it's not.
That was an absolute belter game of the year, and it's only week 5. I don't come out of that game and say the 12-team playoff takes any juice out of it. I want that game again. And by the way, we may get it, or we might not.
You might see it 2 more times.
You might see it 2 more times. But you don't know if Texas is what they look like right now. Maybe you don't get this game again. By the way, maybe this game really, really does matter in the end, because it's Texas and Georgia, or excuse me, it's Texas and Alabama potentially playing for a bye in the SEC championship game. So heck yeah, this game mattered. And heck yeah, this game was still just as exciting as it would have been BCS split national championship era. I don't even care. I'm juiced off that, man. That was incredible.
You should be. The game was awesome. It was bonkers. Damian, Richard, appreciate the post game. Much more ahead here on CBS Sports HQ. What a classic that was. Alabama and Georgia, the rivalry renewed, but some streaks come to an end for the Dogs. The big one, 42 straight regular season wins. It's over. Get this. Over the past 52 games, Georgia is 1-3 against Alabama, 48-0 against everyone else.
I keep trying to tell you so about the Colorado Buffaloes. I dare you to go watch just the first few minutes of this week's Skip Bayless show and watch me laugh at the point spread at UCF, in which UCF was favored by as many as 15.5 points, 48-21 Colorado, because Shedeur is the best quarterback in college football and should go #1 in the draft. And Travis Hunter may have a shot at winning the Heisman. He went Heisman pose today after he picked off a pass. This Colorado team is way better than a lot of people think. It's about to buffalo a whole lot of experts. Trust me.
Last week against Baylor, Travis Hunter became the first FBS player in the past 20 seasons with 100 receiving yards and a forced fumble in the same game. Made an NFL caliber stop at the goal line to knock the ball free and secure the win in overtime. Number 12 entered the day with the 7th shortest odds to win the Heisman. And moving on up the board, Colorado visiting undefeated UCF as a 12.5-point dog. Disrespectful. Late first quarter, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, touchdown. Colorado up 7-0. Hunter's 6th touchdown of the season. Final seconds of the first. 3rd and 15. Down catch. That was nice. Buffs going to the half, up 27-14. Sanders in the first half started 2 of 3, -10 passing yards and a pick. 1. Micah Welch would punch it in to give Colorado a 20-point lead. Ensuing UCF driving interception, and then look, strike a pose. Oh, that's fancy. The Heisman hopeful making a strong case in this one. Odds are looking better game by game. The second player this 21 going on the road and making a statement. Colorado's largest road win since 2005. That's 3 straight wins to improve to 4-1. And that's back-to-back conference games. Victories for the first time since 2020 for Colorado. Colorado now 4-1, and the Hunter for Heisman campaign continues.
Dan, did you see sense any sort of extra motivation or chip on this team's shoulder because you came in here as a 16-point underdog?
We don't care about that. Y'all do. We underdogs every week. Ain't nobody want to see us win. You know that, except for our fan base. You know my brother Ryan, right? Yeah. Life in football, they ride with us, but ain't nobody nationally want to see us get down. So hold on. I want to say, let me finish blessing her. That's just the nature of the game. We're not mad about it. We're not upset about it. We know who we are. We know how we get down. It's not like we come out talking that talk, because we don't really do that. You say we do that, but we really don't do that. Our kids are very humble. I don't say what's going to happen. Never. I say what I would like to happen, but not what's going to definitively happen. But I'm so darn proud of where we are. We could be in a whole different place right now, but look at it. We're going into the break. What's the record? Because I'm one game at a time. Say it again. I just wanted to hear y'all say it collectively. And y'all fell for it. We're 4-1 right now going into the break, and I'm so excited. You have no idea. It's going to be a really good plane ride tonight.
How awesome is this? In the last 24 years, there have been 3 seasons with 5 or more receiving touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Travis Hunter has had 2 of them. Had this season last year and has already got another, and we're in week 5. Travis Hunter for Heisman? Yes, invite me to New York.
Is the most outstanding player in college football. Strike the pose, young man. I believe you will be in New York City in December, and I believe you will be hoisting that Heisman Trophy, no matter how good Colorado ends up this season.
So these are the live odds right now. He entered the day. He entered the day with the 7th shortest odds to win the Heisman at plus 1,600. It's now all the way up to plus 650. You see. Look, Jackson Dart is not even on this page because they lost to Kentucky. Cam Ward had a heck of a game last night against Virginia Tech. But Travis Hunter, I mean, we said this last week here on this set. I have no problem giving Travis Hunter the Heisman. He's the most fantastic, excellent player in college football. What he does, the stop he made last week against Baylor as an NFL play, the pick that he had today, he's catching, he's making catches at an NFL caliber. He's over 100 yards almost every week. He looks like he's playing at another level. That's what it looks like out there.
Yeah, and the interception today, it's not just his physical ability, which is tremendous, right? He's falling off in coverage, and he reads the play with his eyes, and he goes and makes a play. It's not just the immense physical tools that Travis Hunter has. It is his mental acuity and his mental ability. And I think, honestly, he is a unique Heisman case, because I think his Heisman case does not have anything to do with how good or bad Colorado plays this season. I think that week after week after week, he's going to continue to put these plays up with these snap counts, and it doesn't matter how Colorado waxes and wanes over the course of the season like it does with any of the quarterbacks on that list.
Can't believe they were 14.5-point dogs when the week started. This is disrespectful. Disrespectful. That's what I mean. You were out there. You watched them. You've seen them. I mean, I get it. People want to call them frauds, and people want to call them, like, the Nebraska game. That was bad. That was bad. They're
allowed to get better. Like, they are allowed as a football team.
They ran the ball. They're running the ball consistently 3 weeks in a row now, Richard. I mean, this is to me a different team. Like, granted, they've got some problems still up front on the offensive line. That's still being cleaned up. I get it. But this looks like a different team from what we saw earlier in the season. I know we're, week 5 here, but even going back to week 1 and 2, we were like, well, what's this? What is this team? And now are you seeing what you think this team is becoming?
Yes, like, teams are allowed to congeal and get better over the course of a football season. Like, it's okay to look at something in week 1 or week 2 and say, oh, it's the same old song and dance, and then acknowledge over the course of the last few weeks, well, hey, they're making improvements, they're making changes, they're doing what everybody says they should do, which is run the ball. And look, are they Michigan on the ground? No. Are they Army on the ground? No. But they're running enough to give themselves a second dimension and to take some of the pressure off Shedeur Sanders, who, you want to talk about playing better, Shedeur Sanders is playing better this season. We talked about Miller Moss and his pocket maneuverability and his pocket movement. That is what I see in Shedeur Sanders' game this season that is so much better. Last last year, he took sacks and damned that offense and put them in some really, really tough spots by just holding the ball too long. And I think that is a skill that he's worked on over the offseason, and he has gotten better coming into this season. So, yes, Colorado is improving. Am I signing them up for the playoff tomorrow? No. But are they a better team? And do I think they probably will continue to get better over the course of the season? Yes.
This was a resounding win over UCF, 48-21. Last week's win against Baylor was one of those signature moments for that program when you see Shadur Sanders heave up a Hail Mary. LaJohntay Wester catches it. They go to overtime, and then we get a stop from Travis Hunter. And today, that's a statement game over UCF because they were blowing everybody out. Will Venables elsewhere makes a quarterback change after the loss to Tennessee, replaces Jackson Arnold with true freshman Michael Hawkins Jr. It wasn't looking too great, Richard. It was not